Today we're going to discuss living in Florida and why you may love it or hate it. We're getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name's Craig Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida, and if you're looking for a channel to tell you a little bit about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, then this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and make sure you hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video comes out. I'm getting calls from people every day, and I love it. They're asking me what it's like to move here, what they can expect when they get here, and many other small details. So if you've got a question that you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. All right, so there's so many reasons to love and maybe even hate living in Florida. And we're going to talk about a number of the ones that you haven't heard of, because we've heard about the weather, we've heard about the driving, and we might touch on that one because it is a big deal. We've heard about the bugs and all that stuff. I'm going to give you a random list of things that I've noticed and some other people have shared with me. So go ahead and stay tuned to the end, see how many of these you recognize or maybe didn't know about. So once again, we know about a lot of the pros and cons because you've heard it over and over. Hurricanes, yes. Rainstorms, lightning, yes. Love bugs, yes. Cockroaches, absolutely. Those are all the common ones. We hear those all the time. But we're going to be jumping into a bunch of other things that you may not have known about, and they are small details in some respects. So this is my perspective, once again, like every other video I do. And the other thing to keep in mind is if you're not hearing it on this video, it's probably in one of the other 50 some odd videos out there. I can't discuss the same thing in every video, so go ahead and dive into a few others and you might find the answers you're looking for. All right, so we are now coming into the fall of 2021, and the real estate market is still super hot. So hot, in fact, that inventory shortages aren't our only problem anymore. Now we're faced with build times that were once 6 to 8 months. They're now 12 to 18 months, if not longer. So if you're considering new construction, make sure you don't need the home anytime soon, and plan for alternate housing, which leads us to another problem. Apartments. Yes, even apartments are getting hard to find. On top of that, affordability, you're looking at $1,200 for a 1-1. I mean, it is getting ridiculous. You can buy a single family home for not much more on a monthly basis. So I get the draw of new. I get the draw of wanting to wait to get a home built. I prefer new. I own a newer home. But when you're faced with that prospect and waiting and potentially dealing with price increases, are you better off buying a resale home now or waiting for that construction? With these apartments that I told you that were being built in the area to help take up some of the people that are waiting for those homes to be built, these rental situations are getting tougher and tougher. Not only is the price going up every single month, but there's 1,000 new units that are in the course of construction right now here just in Cape Coral, and it still won't be enough. If you look around, you'll see constant construction, constant buildings going up. Some of it's commercial, because the commercial industry is blowing up here too. A lot of new stuff coming in. If you're looking for a growth opportunity, a place to buy that's going to grow exponentially, you may not have to look much further than Cape Coral, Florida. Now, with the increase in prices, you might think all of the parts of a home are getting more expensive, but when it comes to insurance, I've had many clients recently that are telling me the rates they're getting, and I'm blown away. They're getting some fantastic insurance rates. So with the interest rates being low and the insurance being tolerable, or maybe even more affordable than we thought it was, especially in comparison to where you're from, it may not be such a bad idea to just jump in and secure something while these rates stay low. We don't know when they're going to adjust. We don't expect it anytime soon, but if you're waiting for a home for almost 2 years, I don't know if the rates are going to hold on that long. That could be another thing that's going to go against you in the future. Now, with construction here in Florida, one of the things you will always take consideration in is what's it made of? Is it a block home or is it wood? The first thing that people do when they find out it's a wood home is they turn up their nose. They don't want anything to do with it. I'll tell you, many of the homes that we have down on Fort Myers Beach and some of the older areas of the city, you're going to find wood frame homes. So they have been here for a number of years. They have sustained the storms. But I understand, I don't know if I would have a wood frame home either. I'm not faced with that problem. But the one thing that you need to know if you're looking at homes You can't always tell a wood frame home from a block home by the stucco, because stucco is just a coating. They basically put a wire mesh up on the surface, whether it's block or wood, and they smear a concrete layer over the outside of the home to give it the texture, the stucco, and paint over it. That waterproofs it. So at that point, you can't really tell, except for one thing. A block home has the windows recessed halfway in, so you're going to have about a 2.5 to 3 inch setback in the window openings. On a wood frame home, you won't. It's going to be right flush with the wall. That's your telltale sign. It's not the stucco, it's the windows. Pay attention next time you're looking at homes. If it doesn't have the siding, which is also another tip for the wood frame homes, they usually have this siding as opposed to the stucco. But if you don't see that, check out the windows so that you know whether you're looking at a wood frame home or a block home. All right, so we're going to talk about COVID real quick because it's a huge topic. Obviously, it's a worldwide thing, and Florida gets a bad rap for kind of bucking the system. We don't want to wear masks. We don't want to get vaccinated. And that's I'm saying collectively as a state. I'm not saying that's my personal opinion, but if you've heard me for any amount of time, you kind of know where I stand with everything. In any case, there's one thing that made me think today. We've got 1,000 people a day roughly moving to Florida. It's been reported in multiple media streams that that's the case. What's to say that the higher rates of COVID aren't coming from outside the state in? Why does it have to be here already? It may not be any of our fault for the people that are already residents here. It might be the people coming in. Now, with this all happening, the mask mandates for schools has been dropped recently. So if you have kids that are school age, they will have a choice, or you will have a choice whether they're going to be masked or not, whether you're going to opt out. That was reinstated. And the other thing I've been thinking about with all these football games going on, tens of thousands of people, obviously there can't be that much of an issue or concern if all of these people are collecting in tight quarters like that to enjoy their life. Something else to think about, if you're going to be relocating to an area, just take in the customs there, accept what they're offering, and don't impart your thoughts and behaviors upon the ones that are there. The reason behind that, you'll see some of the comments that I get on this channel from people about having new folks move to Florida. They're not in favor of it. They don't want anybody new here. And it's not because they don't like people, it's because they don't want further depression of our rights and freedoms that we have fought to keep in place so that we can enjoy this paradise we're in. So if you're looking for paradise, you're looking for a vacation vibe, you're looking for wonderful weather, and for the most part, some friendly people, if you just leave them alone, then Florida might be for you. Now, there are shortages of things all over the country, and we're well aware of that, and it can be anything from vehicles to supplies for your home. The other thing you're going to start to see is some shortages of things on the store shelves, the grocery stores. Well, the nice thing about Florida is we have great weather year-round, so you can grow your own stuff in your backyard. So whether you want tomatoes or pineapples, oranges, lemons, limes, papaya, guava, pick something. You can grow just about anything here in Florida, and you can do it in your backyard. So as far as shortages go, you can overcome that too with a little bit of extra effort and a little green thumb. Now, there are tons of jobs here in Florida, and so many jobs that we can't get enough staff at times to fill them. If you're looking for a job, it may not be the job that you're accustomed to. Most of our jobs, the larger employers here, are things like healthcare. Publix is a big one, so you're going to be looking at service, and hospitality is very high on that list. The healthcare is. There's going to be some professional positions, obviously, like attorneys and insurance agents and that kind of profession, accountants. You will have all of that like you would anywhere else, but we don't have a lot of manufacturing jobs. Construction has been another massive one in the area, and if you are a CDL driver, you'll probably have plenty of opportunities there as well. If those are the things you're looking for, jobs are plentiful, so don't be concerned. In fact, we're also getting that large distribution center for Amazon here, and the last report I saw, Amazon was prepared to pay $18 an hour to start. Wow. If you're looking for a job, Florida might still be for you. With this pay scale, you also have to take into account the cost of living. And Florida is said to be a little bit higher than the national average. I can tell you, for the most part, I don't see much of a difference when I travel. But Just to give you a little context, our gas just went over $3 a gallon for regular unleaded. So if you can compare that to anything in your area, it'll give you a start. Now, in Florida, for the most part, you will have limited public transportation unless you're in larger metro areas. Here in Southwest Florida, there's not a ton of public transportation, but there are Ubers, Lyfts, and other types of transportation like that. And to give you an example, I used an Uber the other night, and it was about a 20 to 25 minute trip. And I'm gonna say it was maybe 2 in the morning, so not the normal operating hours, but it was a $35 fare to get home. So if that is not overly expensive for you, it's your only option. I haven't even seen a cab in such a long time because these Ubers are everywhere. But that's gonna be the way you're gonna travel if you're not using a bicycle or a car. In this area of Florida, one thing that you also might notice it's much different is the traffic lights, that they're longer. I had a client comment the other day, how are these lights so long? I sit there for such a long time. Well, hey, I don't know. I can't tell you what that's about. Some intersections definitely seem worse than others, but the one thing I'm seeing a ton of, be aware, especially if you ride a motorcycle because you're even more vulnerable. There's a lot of red light running. And when I'm saying red light running, I'm saying that thing turned red and 3 seconds later the car decides to continue through the intersection. Pay close attention to that before you pull out. Make sure the traffic is stopping. Accidents are all over the place. You'll see them constantly. The morning news, they have the traffic report. There's always an accident somewhere. Just be aware, have your head on a swivel, pay attention to what's going on around you, and put down the phone. The texting is a huge thing here. You'll see it all the time. Well, in Florida, you're also gonna have a ton of great seafood options. And we go get blackened mahi or grouper down at Shuckers. Amazing beachfront place, wonderful food, very affordable. Or we go to Docks for their buffalo shrimp. This stuff is amazing. We have to order multiple orders of it because they only come as 5 at a time. They're large shrimp, but they're so tasty you can't have one order. And if you're somebody that's a wing person, I've got 2 suggestions for you. One is the Bimini Bait Shack right down by the Sanibel Causeway. The other is Glory Days. It's a sports bar right off of 41 and Daniels, but holy cow, great wings. Order that with the margarita cauliflower pizza and you'll be in heaven. As you know, Florida has tons of beaches, great beaches, tons of water activities, wonderful outdoor atmosphere, but, and this is for one of the comments from one of the previous videos, there's red tide. I experienced red tide the first time when I went paddleboarding out at South Seas Resort, and it was a light layer that was on top of the water, almost like somebody sprinkled cinnamon. And we had to wade through it to get on and off the boards. I was fine. No side effects, no anything. So I didn't think much of it. The storm passed the other week and the waves were kicked up. And we were out shark tooth hunting with my son and getting a deep breath of salt air with the red tide in it. I started hacking and coughing, almost uncontrollably. Very irritated. It took a while to get over that feeling, but I had to leave at that moment. We might have been at the beach for a total of 30 minutes. I just couldn't take it. So it does have its effect. There were dead fish washing up, just started, so it was a recent thing. So it is something that will affect sea life, and then you're gonna get the odor from decaying fish, obviously. But red tide is a problem from time to time. It's not gonna be everywhere, but it will be in certain locations. There's even a website that now tracks where it is so that you'll know whether you're going to be dealing with red tide when you go to the water. The other thing you might hear about here is blue-green algae or green algae. We recently had a bloom in a couple of the canals here. This is green algae, the one that's just popped up now. And in further research of it, it was saying that this algae usually sits on the bottom of the canals, but when it gets dense enough, it will rise and becomes a layer on top of the water. It's normally not a problem if they can pull it off the water and get it out before it starts to decompose. But once it starts to decompose, then it could become another one of those irritants for you when you're breathing. The other thing it does is it keeps the fish from having the oxygen they need to breathe. They start to die off. So that's what's going to cause those odors of potential irritation. If they can't remove that stuff, then it will be a problem later. Unfortunately, with these great beaches, we also have a ton of tourists to come and enjoy them, and they have cars, which means it's going to limit your parking. Or if you get parking, it's going to be $20 a day, if not higher. On a holiday, it could be as much as $40 for the day. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be traveling to the beaches, You might find a trolley system be more advantageous. We do have a trolley that runs down to Fort Myers Beach. You can park off beach and take this trolley down onto the beach to avoid that parking issue. Or you could buy the parking pass that goes on your vehicle. There's a couple parks that are further up the beach that you could park and just walk down. But those are some of the downsides of these beautiful beaches we have. Florida has more golf courses than anywhere else in the country. So if you're a golfer, you'll have plenty of opportunities. There are a lot of public courses and there are some private courses, so you choose which one you want. Many of them also are reciprocal, so if you get a membership in one location, you could have a few dozen to go play at for a discounted rate. Crime can vary all over the state of Florida. In our particular area here in Southwest Florida, we're one of the safest areas, and what it really comes down to is most areas are, for the most part, going to be safe. There are pockets of where crime can happen. So it's your responsibility to do your due diligence, check around, have a trusted advisor, somebody that can tip you off to maybe areas you might want to avoid, but don't make crime a central concern, especially when you're looking in this part of Florida. Now here in Florida, it's basically summer all year, so you get free vitamin D, but you gotta use sunblock. You know, if you don't, you could end up like me and have that skin stuff going on, need a dermatologist and all this other stuff you don't want to deal with. So, wear your sunblock. But it is summer year-round. The beaches are open year-round. The water activities are available to you year-round. The kids are always out playing. My son, he is out and running constantly because we don't have a lot of weather issues that'll keep him from doing it. But if you're looking for more exercise, better peace of mind, better mental health, overall relaxation and fun, Florida gives you all of that because the great weather is nearly every day of the year. We don't have snowstorms that are locking us in our homes and any of those other obstacles. If you're looking for that kind of lifestyle, Florida might be for you. Another thing you get here is a Florida resident discount. So if you're a Disney person or any of the theme parks, because we have a bunch of them down here, you get a discount just for being a Florida resident. Another bonus. Now this item as a love-or-hate comes down to what your relationships are like, because family will want to come visit you more often when you live in Florida. Florida has a ton of major sport teams. We have 3 NFL teams, 2 Major League Baseball teams, 2 hockey teams, and 2 NBA teams. So if you're somebody that's into professional sports, they are literally all over the place. And these same stadiums that house these games also have concerts. We get some of the biggest venues all around the state. So if that's your thing, hey, another plus to being in Florida. This particular area of Florida, Southwest Florida, proximity to all these attractions is very close. We're 2 hours from Tampa, about 2.5 to 3 hours to Orlando, depending on how fast you drive, 2 hours to Miami. So major cities are literally just hours away. You can get to the cultural things there, get to the sporting events there. You can get to even some of the fresh springs where you can paddle down these springs in very cool waters. If you're looking for a place to cool off in the summertime, these springs, like Ginny Springs, great place to go. Cool off, float down the river, have a great time in the great outdoors. In Florida, travel can be inexpensive depending on what you're doing. Many flights to go overseas are going to be less expensive here. Also, if you're a cruise enthusiast, you don't have airfare. So you just hit one of these ports, drive over there, park your car, jump on the ship, you're gone. Very easy to travel in that form and fashion. If you're driving though, it's going to take you a little bit longer because you have to go 6 hours just to get to the state line, and then you're on the way to wherever you're going. Well, that's a little bit more about why you might love or hate living in Florida. If you have more questions about what it is like to live in Florida, check out one of these other videos. And if you've got a specific question you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email, because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.